Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for another Dell 3880 upgrade video. If you're just joining us now, this was the cheapest brand new Dell I could buy for 2021. I'm going through the whole thing and upgrading all the stuff that makes even remote amounts of sense to upgrade, and some things that don't. But I'm doing it anyway. There's a playlist for this thing if you would like to go see what I've been up to. I'll link it up there and down the description for you. Today's upgrades are going to be 4 more gigs of RAM, because this thing only came with 4 gigs, and this stuff's so cheap there's no reason not to do it. And this 1TB M2 SSD. Both of these guys will be about the easiest mechanical installations of PC stuff you will ever do. But a lot of people get kind of freaked out about moving their operating system from the hard drive to a new drive. So this guy has a mechanical hard drive in it that's really slow, so we want to take Windows and take it off of that guy and put it onto this guy. This step is where a lot of people get concerned. It's not all that hard to do. I've done it a few different ways. Today we're going to try a new way even. But with these videos, I've been specifically asked more than once to take things in a very step-by-step methodical order, which is turn this screw, grab this cord, plug that thing in, so on and so forth. So if that kind of methodology is a little too slow for your taste, there'll be timestamps down the description and down in a pinned comment where you can jump ahead if you like. Let's get our guys put in there. I think first thing we're going to do is the RAM, because it's only going to take about 40 seconds. I should probably mention before we go any further that you definitely want to have a system restore backup of some kind before you start messing around with your hard drives and stuff. I like to use Disk Wizard. You can get the free Seagate version, or you can buy it from Acronis, or whatever you want. But just make sure you have one. First step of the process is pretty straightforward. We have 2 thumb screws, one here, one here. Mine were kind of tight, so it's helpful to just take them off with a screwdriver. They don't come all the way off, they just get loose, and then they stay with the case side. So they stay captive. Once you got them loose, grab right here, give it a little bit of a pull, and your case side will just come right off. Now that we're in, this is the CPU fan shroud, this is the hard drive in the front of the thing. Our RAM slots are right there. You can see this one has 1 populated slot and 1 that's open. If yours has 2 already filled up in there to upgrade, you're going to have to take them both out and throw them away, sell them on eBay, whatever. The way these work is you push these little clips back. So right there, little clips moving up and down in this orientation. We want both these down, or out of our way. We got our new stick of RAM, and all we need to do is line that slot up with a tab that's on the connector and push it in. It looks like I've got it backward right now. So it's going to want to go in like that, it looks like. And this will be much easier to do with this laying down, so I'm going to do that. You might not get as good of a camera angle while I do it though. Yeah, actually it's not too bad. But all we're looking to do here is line up our slot and our tab. And of course get the RAM started in the edge of the connector. Once everything's lined up, which right now it is, you want to press down on each end until these arms automatically come up and lock it in themselves, which usually will happen without putting a ton of force on it. See if I can try and keep my hands out of the way so maybe you can see that. Yep, there's that one and the other one. That's all there really is to RAM installation. It's not a big deal at all. Installing our M.2 drive isn't going to be that much more difficult. See where our RAM's hanging out right there? Just come down a little bit. There's the M.2 connector. I just made a video about this connector that I will link up there that you can go check out if you want to know why there's multiple locations and stuff like that on there. But for the purposes of what we're doing, it's good enough to know that where that screw is too small for the drive we're going to use. So just get that screw out of there. Get our drive out of the box, ready to go. It too is keyed. You can see there's a little slot in it, and there's a tab in this connector that need to line up, or we'll break them, put them together. And right now, for me, this is the correct orientation. We just want to slide our guy in there, something like so. Give it a little push. And it'll be kind of a springboard. It's not actually down. That's what the screw's for. So we've got to push that guy down and put our screw in right there. Does not need to be super tight, just snug. She's in there. We're done. That's the mechanical installation. To put the case side back on, there are little tabs that engage the little windows top and bottom. Let's get those little tabs lined up. Push it forward. Tighten your thumb screws back down. And again, these are thumb screws, so no need to be super tight. That's all there is to the physical installation. Let's get on the software side. Our next fun thing is going to be to turn it on and see if smoke pours out of it. Maybe we'll go into the BIOS and check things out, see if we can see the drive and the RAM are actually recognized. I think we want to push F12 a whole bunch of times to do that. Anyway, here goes. Hope for no smoke. And it would be helpful if I plugged it in first. Round 2. Fight! Looks like I don't even have to work to go into the BIOS. It just knows something's wrong. Okay, so system information. Yep, we got our 8 megs of RAM. That's good news. And we see our M.2 drive right down here, 1,000 gigabytes. So we're looking good here. Exit, continue forward. On second thought, we'll see if Windows pops up anything interesting about hardware changes 7 years from now. And we're up. That seemed like it booted quicker. But we don't see our other drive, and that's okay. That's to be expected. I think I am going to reboot it and time it, though, just to see if the RAM helped it boot up quicker, because that's interesting to me. Realizing it's only exciting for one of us to actually watch it happen, that was moderately quicker. That was 49 seconds to an open web browser, and this is still just Edge, so that's cool. And since I'm a nerd and I just want to know, this is the video render of the very first video I did on this thing, of the unboxing. I just want to see if this render is going to be faster than it was before. I will throw a time right about here for what it was before the RAM upgrade, and then we'll see what it's going to do after it. I kind of suspect it's not going to change much, but I don't really know. We'll find out. Off we go. Well, I'll be. That is moderately quicker. It was 38.39 before, so it's like 1 minute quicker. In percentage, that's like 2% better than it was. So the RAM itself did help. And since we're here, why not try the NVIDIA demo again? That is considerably better than before. It's picked up between 4 and 5 frames. It's still peaking out at like 15 frames a second, so not good, but that's a lot better. Actually, in some instances, that might even be twice as fast. So more RAM, definitely helping out. I'm not going to bother with the full-on benchmark test until after the SSD's in the mix, because I don't think we're going to learn that much from it. But it's pretty cool how much just a little bit more RAM. Honestly, it was like, I think like $15 worth of RAM. Improved our performance quite a bit. So awesome. Now onto our data migration stuff. We need to get Windows moved over to our SSD. I had a commenter suggest in one of my videos like a year or so back that I should just use Samsung Magician, which is right here, because it's so much easier or faster or whatever than what I actually did in that video. What I normally do is use Seagate Disk Wizard or Acronis Disk Wizard to do it. I will throw a link right up here so you can go watch how I do it that way if you want. But I thought for fun, we would try it this way. The first thing I discovered is Samsung Magician is not what we want. Samsung Data Migration is what we want. And it appears this utility will only work if you have a Samsung drive in the system, or maybe just to it. It's my first time, so I'm not sure. But we're just going to jump in and see what happens. So I am going to right-click this so I can run as administrator. Yes, making changes is fine. English is okay. Yep. I'll agree to anything if you put it in a TOS box. Yep. Off it goes. Alrighty. Finish. And now we'll run that as administrator. Yep. Select drive. That's our internal hard drive, I think. Yep. Samsung Evo. Start. Okay, so that's just telling us that our target drive is going to get deleted. Our target drive is brand new. There's nothing to worry about. So I'm led to believe it's going to shut itself off in 20 seconds and turn back on and do stuff. Guess we'll find out. But so far, that commenter appears to be right. This does appear to be very easy. And I discovered I wasn't recording something I wanted to be recording. The 20 seconds thing was it's going to give you a warning that it's going to shut the PC down on its own when it's done. It took it about 8 minutes to complete the data migration, and it looks like upon reboot that it's still going to boot off of the physical hard drive and not the SSD, because it's taking 1,000 years. But as far as ease, it doesn't get much better than that. That commenter was completely right. I guess we have 2 identical drives now. That's weird. It's still just showing me the one. Let's go into disk management and see if we see the SSD as well. We do. It just says it's offline. Oh, maybe just online. Well, that was easy. It alleges that's a removable disk. We know it isn't. Yeah, okay, so there it is. It was just offline. No big deal. Well, as inelegant as it may be, it looks like our next step is going to be to shut this thing down and physically disconnect the original hard drive and boot it off the SSD, and then we can configure the original hard drive as a secondary drive. I was hoping for a more elegant method, but apparently not. So this shouldn't be any big deal. We're back in there. This is our hard drive. I'm just going to pop the SATA cable off of it, maybe. So it might be easier to pop it off the board. Yep. So that should be that. We'll boot it up and see if we need to configure anything in the BIOS or not to get it to go. Power on. That looks like Windows loading. That's good news. Yeah, booting right up. Much quicker boot up too. So our SSD is in there and going. I don't know what is going to prevent it from just booting from the hard drive next time though. So I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to shut it down, plug that cord back in, and boot it back up and see if it boots off the SSD. I think we might be in business. Let's go into Disk Manager, check things out. Okay, so now we see disk 0, which should be our mechanical hard drive, is showing as drive E. And our SSD is disk 1 is showing as our C drive, so that's good. So the only thing left for me to do, since I don't care about the data on the mechanical drive, I just want it to be empty, is delete all these partitions and reformat the thing. Right click on my E drive, delete volume. Yep, goodbye. And probably about a minute ago I should have mentioned that this is all optional. You don't actually have to do this step. You can just come over to Windows Explorer, or File Explorer now, and you could have just manually deleted this stuff off of that drive when it was still in here. You don't see it anymore because there's no partition on it. You could have just manually deleted this stuff and just started using it the way it was if that's what you wanted to do. I am way too pedantic to just leave this space on here unused. I want to reclaim that, which is why we're doing what we're doing here. However, I was then reminded that these videos are also about a quarter of the time a learning experience for me too. Is I've never actually done this before, because every time I have one of these factory drives installed that I'm upgrading or whatever, they're too small for me to care about. And that's true in this case too. I'm never going to use this drive again. And this is just for you guys to follow along. So I've never done this. So this will be fun. But we can't just right click and delete these like we could with the main partition. These are actually protected by Windows, and I didn't know that. But I know it now, so now we're going to go ahead and get rid of them what would be the old-fashioned way. We're going to have to go to a command prompt. So we're going to want to come down to our box here, type CMD, come over here, run as administrator. Yeah. Disk part, list disk, list partition, list partition. Helps if you spell it right. There we go. Okay, so we can see those 5 partitions on there, and we don't see any partitions that are gigantic because we already deleted that one in Windows. So now we're going to have to select each of these, which select, partition, and then we're just going to go with number 1 here. We're going to go delete partition. I just do not like spelling that word. And override. Gone. And you can see it's gone now. So I'm going to do that for these other 4. And then we should be able to format this disk to its proper size. So I've done all that, and now when I type list partition, there are no partitions to show. And also, if you suck at spelling partition like I do, you can just hit the up arrow on your keyboard and go back through these old commands to edit them if you want, and you can reuse them. Anyway, we're done here, so we're just going to exit and exit again. So now we're back in disk management, and you can see disk 0 is only unallocated space now. There are none of those recovery partitions here anymore. And now I can just right click it and create new volume. But before I do that, I want to change my optical drive down here to be drive E, because I would like this hard drive to become drive D. So I have C and D as hard drives or physical drives, and then E is my optical drive. So we're just going to change the drive letter to E. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Come up to disk 0 again, right click, new simple volume. Next. That's fine. Drive D, that's what we want. Next. NTFS is fine with me. Finish. Bang! You can see over here, here's our new empty hard drive. So SSD, hard drive, optical drive. Sweet! So that concludes our physical installation, our data migration, and our cleaning up, I guess, of the old drive, and that's all ready for use. Let's see what our performance stuff looks like now. So first things first, let's bring it up from a cold power off. So let's hit the power button, and off it goes. Whoa, that was quick. Wasn't actually ready for that. Okay. I think I'm actually going to have to do that again so I actually get an accurate measurement. Okay. Yep. We can type and search things. That couldn't have been more than about 7 seconds. So that's a big improvement. I would say, what, like over a minute? So, hell yes, I like that a lot. Let's try our NVIDIA pendulum demo. I don't think it's going to be much different, but I could be wrong. Yeah, not much different. Yeah, 14, 15. I see it occasionally clipping on 17. 14 or 15. So I didn't expect the SSD to help that much, but maybe touch. Let's try user benchmark again, see what happens. All right, so all done. I don't quite remember what everything was from the first video, but just as I sit here with the stuff I have in this text file to use as a reference, our gaming performance came up 11%. Actually, it looks like we're just 10%-ish up across the board. Pretty cool. Still not a gaming PC, not a workstation either. It is a desktop, and for what it costs new, that is true. What I did notice as the test was running is this SSD is a beast. I saw a burst transfer rate of like 1.5 gigs a second. So yeah, 320% is an exceptional SSD score. I agree. Graphics, yeah. Intel graphics, not so great. It likes having 8 gigs of RAM, according to it. I don't. That'll be coming up more later. Yeah, graphics performance, boo-hoo. Apparently I'm basically just in the middle of the pack with the SSD. Oh, I didn't even realize it tested the hard drive again. But yeah, I have a hard time believing a score like this with how it performed before. Generic RAM, unknown. Anyway, I will take a copy of my results. We'll file that away in our text file for next time. Now here's the one I'm the most excited to see, which is rendering performance, which I don't think is going to improve that much. I don't think we were hard drive limited before, but we'll see. I don't know why we have our Windows hourglass, but I don't think that was much of a change, or maybe like 15 seconds or something. Anyway, not enough to really worry about. Well guys, that was pretty productive. I like how the system responded to those upgrades. It did pretty much exactly what I thought it would do, which is kind of become a useful computer at this point. Just running off that hard drive was absolutely murder in this thing. I did not expect the additional 4 gigs of RAM to pay the dividends that it did, which was a pleasant surprise. If I were a sane person, this is probably where I would stop with the budget upgrades on this thing. As I paid for these things, which has been long enough ago that they were still reasonably priced, I think all in all, I've got like $500 in this thing, including buying the computer originally and the SSD and the RAM upgrade and the optical drive. And that puts me approximately what I would have paid to get those things from Dell, or maybe just a little bit cheaper. It depends what processor I could have gotten for that price to make that determination. But right now, as it stands, I haven't done anything that's that goofy. The next installments are going to be goofy. That's where things are going to start to go off the rails. Other than a couple of small things, like people have asked about how to mount additional hard drives and things inside this thing. I'll probably look into some of that, but from here on out, it's going to get kind of nuts. Stuff I wouldn't, for the most part, recommend people do, but people really want to know how to do, so we'll see how it goes. That's the end of this one. As always, guys, I appreciate you stopping in, and we'll catch you on the next one. I'm Max, that's Saddington Bear, and we make videos like this all the time. Here are a couple links to some other videos we've made, and we really appreciate you guys stopping in.